We're here with Greg Rhodenbaugh, head coach of Missouri men's and swimming diving. Greg, looks like the quality of swimming has gone up since you showed up in Columbia, and today, if I'm not mistaken, you boys started off with some pretty good individual swims.
They did. We had some best times today, which is hard to do at the NCAA's effort. It's so hard to get here, but we did a pretty nice job this morning.
And I noticed your relay were a little under the seat time. Anything particular led to that?
No, not really. I mean, we've got a lot of guys that have never been here before. Last year we had one swimmer and one diver, and this year we've got 10 swimmers and 2 divers, and got a lot of kind of starry-eyed freshmen and sophomores. So we're just trying to get them into the meet so we can swim pretty well the next 2 days.
Well, talk about that adjustment process, and particularly building the confidence of the swimmers in the program, especially if you haven't been there before.
Well, a lot of it has to do with getting experience at the big meets. You know, this was our first year in the SEC, and the first 2 days we were a little iffy, and then the last 2 days we swam incredibly well. And a lot of that just has to do with experiencing the atmosphere and knowing you belong, and that's where they are right now. They're kind of building on that at this meet, and I think our next 2 days should be pretty good.
Any particular event you're really looking at for a great swim from a particular athlete?
Well, we've got people seated in the top 16 in mostly the breaststroke. We've got 3 or 4 breaststrokers seated in 100, 200 breaststroke in the top 16. So I'm looking forward to the breaststroke event. And Sam Tierney in particular, he's gotten so good so fast. It'll be interesting to see what he can do.
Is part of that because you were an Olympic trials qualifier in breaststroke?
I don't know. Gosh, I've coached so many different strokes and distances and been successful at all of them, but it just happens to be breaststroke this year on the guys' side. So.
Talk about I noticed the level of swimming at Missouri really has risen. Is it harder or easier these days to talk to people about your program and get them excited about being a possible Tiger?
I think so. I mean, a lot of people are talking about Missouri on the pool decks at NCAAs and nationals, and a lot of that has to do with the people that are developing up through the program. I mean, we're not getting any big name people yet, but we've made some pretty big name people, with Dom getting second last week on 150 flat and 200 back at the women's meet, and Sam going in so highly seeded this year. Nobody knows who Sam Tierney is, but they're all asking, who's Sam Tierney? But we've got a really good class of guys coming in next year. What I think is going to end up being one of the better ones around. So, yeah, it's starting to get easier to get people interested with how we're doing at the bigger meets, and we also just have a great bunch of guys. Where's
your recruiting your recruiting base? Is it mostly Midwest, or is it wider geographic base now?
Since I've gotten there, it's kind of branched out quite a bit. We've got people coming off the East Coast from North Carolina this year, and we've got Florida coming in. We've got people from Colorado, and a lot of Midwesterners, but a lot of people outside that profile also. So, you know, we're starting to kind of reach out and get people. A lot of people from Texas are usually pretty interested. So we're really all over the place. We got somebody coming from Minnesota, really 4 corners of the United States.
And you have some internationals on your squad too, do you not?
We do. We've got a couple of them, and that's been good too.
Any plans to expand that effort internationally?
Most of the time, the international swimmers recruit us, and if they really want to come, they stay in touch, and then if they're good enough to make the squad, go after them.
Well, we're looking for a good next 2 days from the Tigers. Best of luck.
Thanks, Mike.